What up, my dudes? This is Mr. Gardner, and this is Math Time with Mr. G. Today we're going to start working on writing radical expressions and rewriting those. So just as a reminder, if I was to give you 3 squared, that'd be the same as 9, and the radical expression of that would be the square root of 9 is 3 squared. So what they're actually asking for when they give you a radical right here is, what's the number in front? So if it's a cubed root, they'll say cubed. If it's a quad root, they'll write 4. If there's nothing, we write 2. So right here, I'm going to write 2. And so that's what I want you to do every single time. If you see a blank one, put the 2 there. Next thing, what they're asking for you to do is take this 9 and split it up into its primary factors. That means I can't split it up anymore. So 3 and 3, I can't split up anymore. And then this tiny 2 says, circle all the pairs. There's a pair, which means that's what gets pulled out. So let's look at another example. Let's say I have the square root of 64. Okay? To split that up, I'm going to take 64 over here and divide it by 2. And then I get 32. Then I'm going to divide that by 2. And then I get 2 and 16. Because 2 times 16 gets me back to 32. 32 and 2 gets me back to 4. So 2 times 2 times 16 is 64. And I can split this guy up to 2 and 8. And I can split him up to 2 and 4. And I can split him up to 2 and 2. So then I look at the end of my branches for all of these, which means that the square root of 64 is really 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's no number in front of this radical, so which means I have to write 2, which means circle the pairs. So there's a pair, there's a pair, and there's a pair. So what the square root of 64 really is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2, or 8. So the square root of 64 is 8. So let's look at one more example with just a square root. Then we'll do a cubed root, and then we'll do some variables. So let's say I had 24, and they wanted to know the square root of 24. I would split this up as 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. Which means what goes inside are the ends, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. I'm going to say there's nothing here, so I have to write 2. I'm going to circle my pairs, which means that this gets to come outside the radical. 2. And what's still left inside, I multiply again, and that's what stays inside. So the simplified version of this radical is 2 root 6. Okay. So now let's look at another example. Let's say that they give us 54. Okay? But they say, I want the cubed root of 54. So let's split that in half. And I get 2 and 27. 27 splits up to 3 and 9, and 3 and 3. Which means I have the cubed root of 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. And this says circle groups of 3. So there's my group of 3. So that's what gets to be pulled out. So I have 3 cubed root 2. And so for our last example, let's say they ask for the quad root of x to the 8th, y to the 4th, z to the 12th, and let's say 64 again. So what this really means is x ran out 8 times. So if I were just to do the x's, That'd be x1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that means I can count 1, 2, 3, 4 because it's quads. There's one group. And there's another group of 4. Okay? Which means that I have x times x get to come out, which simplifies to x squared. Another way to view this is 4 goes into 8 2 times. So this exponent divided by this is what gets to come out, which means 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 by 12 is 3. And then let's do 64 again. So that was, one more time, I'm going to do 2, 32, 2, 16, and I'm going to do 4 and 4, and I'll show you why that's a quick shortcut in a second. So I have 2 times 2, oops, to the 4th, sorry, times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, because that's my 4s right there, boom. So it says circle groups of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means one group of 2 gets to come out, and 2 times 2 stays inside. So if I circle it, the number I circle it comes out, but if I don't circle, I multiply them together, and that's what stays inside. And then just one more quick example. Let's say I have root 3 of x to the 5th. So root 3 to x to the 5th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says circle groups of 3. There's a group of 3, so one group gets to stay out, and 2 groups stay in. So it'd be like that. Alright, if you have any other questions, just let me know in the comments section. But other than that, be kind to each other, ask lots of questions, and think deeply.